So a creative consultant, that sounds kind of ambiguous. So what does your day-to-day tasks look like?
Yeah, so working with a small business owner one-to-one, a lot of that is really understanding what they've been doing with their marketing and their messaging. So when I first met Shada, who's the chef, she was mostly going off of word of mouth. And of course, that works because great food speaks for itself. But you have some business owners that are very curious about how to be online. So I have a background of just always making content, writing, scripting, as well as like building communities online. So being able to take that from working in a very much like corporate setting to now working with small business owners, a lot of it was just understanding how can we tell the stories of what you are doing, but in a way that matches what people are looking for when it comes to finding a community online or finding your services online. So a lot of it is helping business owners who are offline, I would say, get more online so that they make content that not only looks visually appealing, but also is very much like advertisement as well. So being able to blend the both advertisement and storytelling.
It's the kind of work that did not exist 10, 15 years ago.
Absolutely not. No. Who knew that, coding MySpace pages to now being able to edit with your smartphone is now the, hottest thing. And a lot of it is very much like self-taught, but I think the biggest thing is that you have to also like really love like the people aspect, like knowing like how is this person going to find my work online, and think in a reverse way of like how can I make it as simple as possible, even though you know a ton about your industry, a ton about what you do professionally. How do you just make it so that it is entertaining and appealing? Or even if it's an industry that is not as like entertaining but more informative, there still are ways that you can connect with people.
Yeah, no kidding. So let's take a look at how you got into this field, because something tells me when you were an 8-year-old lad, this was not the future that you envisioned originally.
No, I would say I was always creative. And so I first got started with like YouTube. That was something that YouTube was just becoming a thing when I was in college. And I was like, this is interesting. Like I can film, I can put it online. And so I had several different YouTube channels, from like either gaming to like just giving advice, like documenting just being in design school. But none of them really like took off. And I guess it wasn't like an in-demand like skill where people were advertising to hire YouTubers. So fast forward a few years, I had jobs in the fashion industry, then got into working to tech. And that segue was pretty much just, I love trending topics and culture. So being able to focus on like youth culture, and as well as like what's the latest trend in tech. A lot of young people are online, they're using new technology. So getting into tech was very much like a seamless transition. And so I think what really kind of helped me bridge the gap between how to be a creative consultant and also help like local businesses as well as like online companies was really understanding the tools to like find these audiences. So living in a bigger city, like I was living in LA at some point, I was living in New York, was able to travel around the world, just being able to speak and host parties and like be around people. It really kind of helped me understood like, what's sort of like trending. And I think that is a lot of fun to jump on trends, but I also think helping business owners be able to develop their voice online, that really just sets them up for success of feeling confident when speaking on camera, or confident when deciding what should be priority when it comes to marketing.
So the kind of material that you're then putting out, obviously there's a melding of your passions and the needs that businesses have. So the marketing material that you're putting out, is it fair to say that this is effectively awareness campaign material?
Yeah, it's very much that. And I guess technically in the marketing, it's top of funnel. So you're really looking at sort of the value that you bring to people. So whether it's you save them time, you save them money, it's more efficient for them. It could be anything that you see as like sort of the value. So these are like kind of like the testimonials. So that'll be kind of like the first question I'll ask is like, when I'm working with a new business owner is like, what do people like rave about you? Like, what is like their favorite experience? And a lot of that can be broken down into like a story of like, when does someone need a private chef It could be for a business that is celebrating a milestone. It could be a family that's celebrating a get together. And those are experiences that the business owner has had and completed successfully. But now how do we create that into content that tells that story again and again so that other people see the need of like, oh yeah, I never thought about having a chef for an at-home cooking class, yet they see like the chef making their favorite dish from their favorite movie. And it's just all kinds of like creative ways that I will like hear stories of like successful businesses and turn them into content that is not only engaging for an audience, but also fun for the business owner to share their story.
So one of the things that we've run into a lot, because we offer our own digital marketing services to other businesses in our area, and we've had some really lovely success. But one of the questions we get a lot is people are like, hey, we want to make these videos. Sure, let's make some videos. And we're going to do them in this style. We can make them this way. We'll produce this many. And then eventually it gets to the point where they say, okay, but how many leads is this going to generate?
That is a great question. And I think good content or with enough experience, you can have both things happen. You can have leads and also an account that grows. Now, getting the right shift in the mindset, that takes time. And that's really where consultants like us come into the coaching aspect. So I feel like 99% of the job is coaching the business owner to get them to see that, yes, this is working, even though it's not as something as like you can't calculate it as much as being like, oh yeah, we got like 2 leads from this like 100 views, like not exactly. But I do think that there are a lot of awareness campaigns that can invite people into what the business has to offer. So that's when you have your newsletter, your email. That's when you also are partnering with other businesses in the area and like showcasing them in the videos. And I think that even if the videos aren't on like the actual service, it could also become a destination for people in the community to know about your industry. So I think that there's a lot of ways to kind of work around the strengths of the business owner, because some business owners are naturally very outgoing. They like to be on camera. They like that center of attention, which is amazing to work with. And then there's some that really want to focus on like the impact that their business is doing and the legacy that they're building. And I think that there's definitely space for both. But when it comes to like learning the skill of how to, find the make money button online, that is something we're all trying to crack. But I think the biggest thing is that it's helping the business owner understand that it's really the kind of the inner work of like, I'm now adopting something new. Because you even think about when newspaper ads probably came around, people were probably hesitant on that. Or like, why do I need to buy a print ad, Yeah. So this is kind of like our version of like, why do I need to make a video when it's like, yes, everyone else is doing it. But I think the biggest thing is like helping business owners discover, how do you do it for yourself? Like, how do you make it work for you? And I think that's like very rewarding, very challenging, but also just like so amazing when you finally get like a good content format, a good editing stream, a good like places that you like to film or where they naturally come alive, like when they talk to people, like that is amazing to watch that transformation through a consulting experience.
So one of the things that I remember a fella asked once, and again, it's continuing with that theme of, well, how do I generate leads? How do I generate money since I'm investing sometimes a lot of money into these awareness campaign videos? Like, yeah, you know what? That's a fair question, because in awareness campaign videos, you're probably not going to want to include a link to say, hey, also buy my service.
True.
There are times where that's applicable.
Very true.
But you know what? More often than not, what those social media profiles that grow, they're growing because people want to watch them. And when they're coming to watch them, they're often coming for certain things, whether that is entertainment or information, or they just want to be kept up to date on certain changes. And one of the things that's really valuable is that once these things grow to such a capacity that you become that authority in that field, whether that's locally or nationally, people are going to look to you when they're eventually ready to buy the product.
That's so true. I think that there are many goals that people can have, yet you have to focus on kind of 2 at a time. I would say not just 1, but 2 at a time. Because you can have great content and not be getting leads. That happens. I see that quite a bit when I'm, consulting people. You could have a very small account and get leads because you spend time with quality. And I think that that's really the biggest thing that I help people with is how do you get quality content so it's not just this hamster wheel of like put out 100 videos and they all don't lead to anything. It's really about understanding how long is it going to take us to make this video to get the impact that we're looking for. Because a video that somebody can film for 16 seconds could go viral, and that's like, you know, the thing that brings in their next like big win. Or it's a video that took several hours and it kind of fizzles, or it completely goes, you know, to the moon as well. So it's like, it really just depends. But I think it's the amount of effort that you put in doesn't always equal like the reward, and that really throws people off. But I do think that if you read books by like making funnels, like Russell Brunson books, I'm trying to think of like all the marketing books. Like I think I picked up every single marketing book I could when I first got started with like making content and understanding conversion. Those books really help you understand like how to convert traffic. And that's a whole like paid ads game, which I love. Paid advertisement, Facebook ad, Instagram ads, Google, they all still work. It's really about understanding how to do the research first. And that's where I think a lot of people kind of miss the mark or don't have the patience with. Like if you really deep dive research on like either your, you know, geographic area, or you're really focusing on like who you're serving, and take like more time researching than just producing the content, I do feel like a lot of people are a lot more successful with having a better outcome. But that's, you know, that's the point of hiring a consultant. Like we study this stuff. I love like diving into analytics or like watching the top, you know, creators in a certain industry, just to like reverse engineer, like, you know, how did they script that? What was the hook on that? You know, how long was that video? What were the visuals? Like, I love that stuff. That's why I love what I do. But I should say, for a business owner, they're running a business, and that's entirely like their main focus. And for creative consultants or content creators, we're making content. So it's like we're online a lot, and we're balancing that with also running our businesses. And that's why I think it's really good to partner with creators, because you'll have that balance of like, you know, how do you make content but not have to spend your hours to like learn that, when you can work with creators or make some fair like trade in which, you know, it works out where both people are learning and earning. But yeah, I mean, paid ads really are the way to go if you're trying to like, you know, make money. But once again, it's like YouTube University. You're going to have to like pay to like learn that skill. But once you learn it, you can take it anywhere. You can apply it to anything. You can test any idea. And I think that's something that a lot of people have to kind of wrap their head around. That it's like, you know, you spending this $50 to test an idea versus spending 100 hours going in the wrong direction. So sometimes it's like, you know, how do you use that tool to like help you test an idea versus, you know, going in the wrong direction or not talking to the right people?